Rev TV brings the world of motorsports into your home with over 100 live race series such as MotoGP, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Extreme E, World Superbike, and the newly launched all-electric E1 series. From 2 wheels to 4, from land to sea, your destination is Rev TV.
Live from Concord, North Carolina. Welcome, race fans, one and all, back to Green Flag TV, where we are set to duke it out once again for racing action here on Monday night. Welcome to the High Tide Race Elite Premier Series presented by Ohio and Indiana Roofing at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. My name is Little Rempel alongside Justin Prince. We bring you all of racing action from start to finish on Monday night. Justin, round number 4 takes us to our second 1.5-mile track of the season. It's Concord, and a track that needs no introduction.
Yes, indeed, America's home for racing, ready for the drivers to showcase their ability to be able to save tire, be able to have speed for the long run, especially here. It's a track known in real life for its marathons. It's going to be interesting where drivers fare out here tonight, especially with how critical the fuel strategy has been in so many of these races so far.
So many fuel races so far in the season, including last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where Jaden Hopp put on a clinic, taking home the win earlier at Las Vegas. And of course, not having a good qualifying effort today, but he was quickest in practice. He's looking to become the 4th different winner at this racetrack. So far, Justin, no driver has taken repeat wins. Prior winners include Kilroe, Nickerson, and Smith, 2 of which are in fact, all 3 of which are in the field this afternoon.
And a good opportunity for all of those drivers to potentially pounce, especially with the way Kilroe looked in practice of quality. He's coming off momentum last night from a championship in the ARCA car when it comes to blazing pedals. Looking to carry that to the Gen 4 here tonight, here in High Tide though. But it's going to be a good chance for some of the other drivers to be able to pounce. After all, we've seen how important it is to set things up long run, and drivers like Scott Schuler have been able to outscore people by being the most consistent through the past 2 fuel mileage races.
And right now, Scott Shire and Nicholas Coruscant, 2 drivers of the Old School Racers team that we did not expect to see up at the top of the points boards. But hey, they've been putting together some fine drives. Remember, coming off of that 1-2 finish that they had at the Auto Club Speedway earlier on, where Coruscant passed Shire for the win there with just 1 lap to go. Michael Thorpe Jr. settles into 3rd, although he is in a head-to-head fight with Jaden Hopp for that final podium position in the points. Philbrick and Ramos both sit still within 5 points of points leader Scott Shire. So it is right now a hotly contested points battle at the front, but with us still being early, a lot of chances for that to change.
Lots of chances to swap around absolutely here, and I have a feeling tonight is going to be a bit of a wild one when it comes to some of the shuffling amongst the pack, especially since some of the drivers had some big incidents in final practice. The main thing's going to be, though, if it goes green, say, the whole way and it doesn't end up being an incident-filled affair, there's an opportunity for some of these drivers to really flex the speed muscles here tonight, especially with the temperatures on the track being relatively nice. 74 on the air temperature this evening, 77 on the track.
77 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, on the track right now, 74 in the air. It is a very cool track surface out there right now. Only 1 mile of wind blowing up towards the northwest so far here this afternoon, Justin. And with it being 3:44 p.m. local time on November 17th, this race is looking set to be finishing under the lights this afternoon.
There is that potential depending on how things are in terms of the session advance, absolutely here, and depending on how sunset fares out here. So the main focus though has to be quite simple. You have to be able to figure out how to drive the car, keep it smooth, be able to perform strong lap times. It's going to be a fun night as we get ready to see pretty soon how they'll shuffle. Keep in mind, some drivers scraped the wall in qualifying. I've seen some big shuffles in final practice. Jaden Hopp's been very quick, by the way. He has been very difficult to slow down on pace. The thing is, though, he did not not carry it over to qualifying. I will say that because he had a wall issue on his second lap. The big difference, 2/10, the big difference on that, well, 20-something spots.
It's a track that always puts up some pretty good qualifying battles, and while you're taking a look at the practice results right now, where Jada Hopp did top the charts, although there are some other drivers, again, we're not used to seeing up here at the top. James Yerger coming over from SRA, making a good performance. John Osborne sitting within the 10th at the end of practice as well, and take a look right there, last winner at this racetrack, Aaron Smith, sitting in a comfortable 5th place, and almost a full 10th of a second back to now defending Blazing Pedals ARCA Series champion, Dalton Kilrow. You got your Season 2 champion, Dustin Pink, sitting in 7th after the practice boards as well. So plenty of drivers here with some pretty solid efforts as far as practice times are considered, but practice can often be so different to the race, and some of these drivers might be further up towards the front. Others might be finding their way further towards the back if they're having good efforts early on.
And the key thing to remember is it's hot lap speed, right? When it comes to a lot of these these practice times. You don't get the full picture, say, the 3-lap average, the 5-lap average, the 10-lap average, the 20-lap average. All the long run pace, that's really critical to win here. You can have great fire off, but if you can't keep it up in terms of being able to contend by the midway point of the run or by the end of the run, you're in a world of hurt here, and you're going to end up going right into the heart of the pack, or even worse.
The one driver I'm going to be keeping a close eye on, especially as this race kicks off, right? Jonathan Canfield for Golden Garden Autosport comes into this race with no practice time on the board, so likely minimal practice. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't know how to drive this track, but you're entering what could have been a private testing session, right, into the actual race conditions with minimal knowledge of how the actual race session track is going to function comparison to those private testing sessions where you can regulate a lot of stuff like the weather and so on. So that could be a dangerous factor for Canfield early on, and I would not be surprised if we saw him started towards the rear as a result of it.
Yeah, he'll be in a little bit of a more difficult spot, we'll say, based on the order here around the mid-pack, I believe. In terms of that, was 19th in the points coming into tonight. Just looking for something, anything, in terms of getting some top 10s on the board, because if you want to contend for the championship, consistency is critical, especially towards the final race of the season, where it's going to come so much down to the line in terms of where the chase for the cup will be. But keep in mind, he's amongst the drivers who ran well at Daytona, but has been sub-top 20s both races last time through. So still, it's about, can he improve himself here in this one tonight?
And of course, these last few races so critical as we get ever closer towards the winter break. It's important to do well while you are in shape and set to go race. And of course, Bristol Motor Speedway coming on up just 1 week from today. Sorry, 2 weeks from today in December. That is going to be quite a doozy of a ride indeed. Watkins Glen International, and along with Texas Motor Speedway, also playing major factors in the closing races. So you got 3 tracks wildly different from each one that came before to close out 2025 here, Justin. And Bristol in particular, a track that has had a checkered history when it comes to high tide racing league competition, because the last time these guys were out here in full force of Gen 4 cars, well, you saw a dump and run for the lead on the final lap. So Bristol could very well be a place where we see a lot of tempers running hot.
And a lot of cars get destroyed. A lot can happen. I remember one of the first times we called a race a long time ago, Nolan. It feels like near 7 years ago it was, give or take. We called a race where all 16 drivers managed to get in one wreck. I don't think it's going to get to that point at Bristol, but it is the type of racetrack where the drivers are carrying so much speed, it's so easy for the whole field to just ram on in.
Man, you are breaking out the throwbacks. That race had completely left my mind until you brought it up. Holy cow. I mean, but you're right. I mean, the Bristol wrecks can be absolutely insane with how quickly they can pile up. It's a track where there is nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You're coming off of the half-mile track, running similar speeds as tracks you would find, such as the Dover Motor Speedway. But of course, before we get to that, 200 miles here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But hey, a wreck at Charlotte can also be a bit of a doozy to avoid, because there's not a lot of runoff area down to the inside of this facility.
No, there is not, and there's a chance for plenty of these drivers to have some slides, especially with turn 4 in particular, where I'm going to keep an eye on. Some drivers usually push a bit tight there and make contact there, because that run to the dog legs up to the quad oval. A little bit more narrower, so to speak. You can go maybe 2 wide. We've seen 3 wide work with a little bit of door baiting. But it is going to be an area where we might see some bottlenecks as drivers lose control or over push the limits of their Goodyear Eagles.
And with all that, it's time to take a rundown on who's going to be starting where for racing action tonight, and a solid qualifying performance for Dalton Kilroe. The defending Blazing Metals champion will start his run on pole position here this afternoon. He is alongside Ryan Philbrick in number 2. Road 2 the great Michael Thorpe Jr. for Golden Garden Autosport will start alongside Ty Marasco. Down in 4th with Road 3 on the grid containing Scotty Stevens and Nick Nickerson. Row number 4, you got Benjamin Lacey, the Season 1 champion, lines up alongside James Yerger. And then closing out the top 10 this afternoon, Daniel Rupek, one of many rookies in the field. He is alongside fellow rookie Michael Ramos.
11th spot tonight goes the way of Wyatt Walker. He'll start next to Jeremiah Hobbs. He'll try and pull some strategy out of the hat tonight. Same for Nicholas Corcel, who's done the same this season already. Tanner Marr starts down in 14th amongst row 7. You talk about row 8, that's where Kevin Foster will be. Michael Keithley will drive the 53 machine in the Old School Racers machine from 16th, 2/10 off the pole. Also back here, Brian Dees, keep an eye on him. He's been pretty fast in terms of momentum. He'll start next to Kyle Wellman, who starts 18th. 19th goes to Austin McGill. Deep in the field for the 48, John Walker starts 20th.
Back half of the field is started off by John Osborne and Larry Bell. They are followed up by Scott Shire and Ricky Hart Jr. Row 13, it's Sean Williams and Jaden Hobb. Last week's winner looking to double it up this afternoon alongside David Lake and Carter Phillips, with Jonathan Campbell and Eddie Hackey closing out the top 30.
Continue to plummet down the order. Connor Gibson starts down 31st. Jason Raymond well down the order, 32nd starting spot for him this evening. Then you go next down to Dustin Payne. He'll start 33rd tonight. Christopher Mixon, one of the last people to join the session, starts 34th. 35th goes to Paul Mary. We'll start next to Aaron Smith II, who did not put up a time. Rest of the order. It was Miguel Robinson, Zachary Wareham down in 38th. The last 2 drivers are Anthony Marshall and Mike Massengill. Massengill, yet again, no quality time.
And with that, the field is set and ready to rumble. We're happy you're joining us in racing action here on Monday night as the iRacing pace car will make that sharp left-hand turn to the pit road. It's time once again to get the party started. It's go, go, go in North Carolina. Never mind, we're stopping already. We got them stacking them up in the back of the field, and more trouble at the front of the field. 5 cars going around to kick this one off on 2 separate incidents, Justin.
And it's stop. How about that? Yeah, Michael Ramos turned around up at the front and the back of the field. Massive checkups. Surprised no caution in the first place with drivers like Anthony Marshall going the wrong way around. Just a bunch of checkups at the back of the group.
Boy, talk about a disastrous start for the field. That was, I think that has got to be one of the quickest cautions coming out during a race that I've ever seen in my life. The back of the field hadn't even started to go yet when they spun around at the tail end.
Yeah, that was Robinson who got turned around at the very tail end, and then right here, Ramos just gets jacked up. Ends up getting turned off of the wall by Hobbs. Hard contact, and that's what the caution trigger was. If he's lucky no one else slipped up into him with him turning right instead of left.
I'm frankly surprised no one hit him as well. I thought that was going to be a pretty big crash over the head of the field, but you see him, the 79 car just started to go, and the 5 in front of him hadn't left the line.
That just did not go. Quite simple. And then up at the front, they're just getting up to speed to the gears here. Ramos not going to be the most happiest. Here's a look from Hobbs. Kyle Wellman actually got an EOL penalty amongst this caution period. But right here, you see Ramos just has to check if the car's in front, and Hobbs does not lift.
And fuel going to be a big question tonight, it looks like, Justin, because we're not even one lap in, and already we got half the field coming to pit road to top up.
Again, another race where fuel mileage could come into play. And quite simply, with the early caution flags, a lot of these drivers not taking any risk. If there's a chance to be able to save some gas, be able to plot and plan, they're going to take it. A couple of the others obviously are going to get some damage repair done from the incidents. But this is a big caution for 3 drivers. Well, 2 of them specifically. Jaden Hopp, Zachary Wareham. Those 2 started from pit road tonight. And now get the chance to regroup here with some wave arounds. Let's take a look again at Anthony Marshall.
I have no words. Now, Anthony Marshall has a black flag, and that would be for passing on the inside before the start-finish line. Now, I don't know if that's going to get cleared, Justin, because he's the car that turned the guy around the front and brought the yellow flag out.
I think that has been cleared for Marshall's case. So that's been dealt with. Wellman was the ones who got an EOL on them in that initial start sequence, believe. But at this point, obviously things discombobulated. Jeremiah Hobbs was amongst those who did duck down with damage repair as the cause of caution technically for the trigger. But the wave rounds go on by, and Dalton Kilroy will try this again, now with himself in control for the restart zone as they make their way on by for the wave round.
And the critical thing about why these wave rounds have taken place, you might wonder, well, everyone was on the lead lap. How in the world have you managed to do this? It's because these guys, the caution came out before they even got to the start-finish line. So technically, they only just now actually got on the official scoring sheet.
Welcome to the world of iRacing. To say the very least, anything can happen. We just had a lot happen. All of this as well. I'm curious how tonight fares out if you're Kilroy. He was pretty quick down in California a couple weeks ago in particular. See if the speed translates here tonight for Charlotte as we look to see how long we get on this run. Wellman EOL was from a caution points 2 weeks ago, by the way. Just got the clarification for the 42 cam.
Well, you ask about how long we're going to go. Surely we can't do worse than we just did. I mean, you get the whole field across the start-finish line, you're already doing better than how you started.
Just have to hit the gas. Hope you don't get another spin. Here we go, coming up to that start zone.
Gonna try it again. Green flag is back out in the air for the second time tonight. He could call this a full race restart. And this time we get away towards turn number 1 clean. Dalton Kilroy out in front. And Philbert trying to hold on to second from Marasco.
Good job for Philbrick to be able to get himself up there already as most of the field actually getting spread a fair bit apart here off the rip. A lot of these drivers try to stick to the blue line though, as you would expect. The bottom short distance around center on this short run here at Charlotte.
Quite a bit of side-by-side from about 23rd on back as the 57 of Christopher Mixon kind of jacking up that outside lane. Outside does not have too much pace, it looks like, for the time being. Inside looks like the place to be, but you take a look at this Hortus that's back in the pack as the front runners continue to pull a gap. It's already 1.2 seconds just from 12th to 13th alone.
How about that for some of the drivers here? But that in part because of the fuel strategy taking place for the drivers at the back of the field, but up front. Keep an eye, though, on how well these drivers manage their throttle points. Right now, Brian Dees, he actually came away with a win last night at Homestead Miami Speedway in that Blazing Pedals race. His best run in that series all year.
Oh!
He's nearly spinning. Here we go.
Look out into the infield grass, trying to hang on to it. He's going to spin down, keep him off the wall, and he's just going to manage to keep that car off the inside barrier. Brian Dees, though, now with a black flag for an unsafe pit entry, but hey, that could have been a lot worse.
He's asking for it to get cleared there. That was an incredible save from getting loose in the contact. That could have been a massive stack up to say the very least. I don't think it's getting cleared. Let's take a look at this once again, though. Just got loose coming off the corner. You see him pushing up the hill. He just got it cleared, in fact, by race control. Right here, has to turn right, has the contact. Fight it, keeps bouncing around on the artificial turf. Just keeps it off the pit wall.
Not to mention those water barrels that protect the scoring pylon in the infield there, just off of turn 1 for the road course. Nearly when going into those barrels as well. You got one leading edge after another. Of course, the pace car driver, I'm sure, had already long bailed to safety by the time that car got to him. But you got David Lakey now and Michael Keithley looking for 3 wide with Nick Christen up on top, and all of a sudden that outside lane is finding some speed.
Does gain some ground later in runs. We've seen at times here on the platform, so we are starting to see that a bit. Especially since you can pinch down a little bit, get a good run off the turn 4 in particular, big pass, but it takes a good car and takes a lot of good consistency to make sure you don't cook the rear tires in particular around here, especially with how much that can be burned up. Look at that cut up the road by Ping.
Dustin Payne going to make that one for the 14th place spot. He's going down the inside of Jonathan Canfield, one of the drivers that enters this race with no practice on the official sheets. But Canfield did not pit, which is why we see him so far the grid. And Payne quickly trying to go 2 for 2. Carter Phillips, the next driver in his sights through BC Sim Sport. And Payne looking to make short work of him.
Now, good run so far for Payne. Up to 20. Fuel strap, but also the ground where the course is run just on raw speed. He's fitting back the first driver to have topped off so far on the fuel strat. So just picking them off one by one, gaining more momentum. Is going to be the next car up. There's almost a full second up the road. Then it's another second plus just to get to the next pack of cars in the draft.
Still quite a bit of side-by-side deeper in the field here as drivers continue to fight this one out amongst themselves, all the while towards the pointy end of the field. Dalton Kilwell walking out a 7/10 of a lead from Philbrick. The fight's really on between Philbrick and Thorpe for the second place position. We got problems in the front straightaway. Connor Gibson's gone around.
I was just about to say, just seen that as well. The 31. Just driving on his lonesome, slammed down the wall through the quad oval. Significant damage, and now we can't see where he's going.
Yeah, right now struggling to see out of the nose of that car. He's going to be forced into pit road. That is the look from what Con Gibson sees. He's using that inside safety barrier to help guide around the racetrack. So long as he can see that, he knows he's not on the racetrack.
Now at this point, gonna have to keep as calm as possible here. Drives around here, you can see him just keep it slow. Obviously something technical must have happened because I think he went straight. Didn't turn the wheel right about here and then realizes where he's going.
That's a bit reminiscent of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s hard hit from Texas back in, I think, 2014, I want to say. Of course, in Dale Jr.'s case, he had broken off the splitter courtesy of the grass on the inside of the racetrack, but similar hit, one of the fastest points on the racetrack and one of the most violent angles you can go into it as well.
This point right now, field was damaged well under 8% of the fuel tanks here tonight. Going to be a number to remember. Usually the full tank goes around to maybe upwards of 60, 70 laps. More towards maybe 65-ish. Talking about 8% here, more towards a couple stop race regardless here. But we are still early in the run, at least on these Goodyear Eagles. The fall-off difference, about 7/10 of a second of the pack. These drivers establish the top, putting Jaden Hopp, who's on a mission to prove why he's fast.
Well, Jaden Hobb back up to 26th place after coming down pit road under that first yellow flag. Just not having a good run. And Jonathan Canfield slow. entering turn number 1. So Canfield looks like may have had a problem coming off of turn 4 as well.
Remember, you talked about the limited practice here. Quite simply had the wiggles. McGill right behind. Actually gave him a little bit of a love tap. Had a faster run to the inside. So a little bit more towards the middle of 2 lanes there. Feel good save to at least avoid sliding it out the pit road.
Turn 4 really does seem to be the trouble spot for a lot of drivers. Normally it's turn 2 at a track like this, but you know, we haven't really had a lot going on in 2. It's all been turn 4 and through the quad oval. Sean Williams now trying to find the inside of Paul Satmary. This is the fight for 15th place as everyone from 10th on up has gotten themselves single filed and are starting to break apart.
Right now, it's just continuing to splinter as you would expect in this type of a race on the long run. Some of the drivers down these straightaways, though, just trying to sort themselves out here. Like plus 20 now for Paul Mary. Great effort from him so far here tonight. In terms of being able to claw his way ahead, he's one of the drivers, though, who's not on the top-off strat. Something obviously going on with Wareham, though. Ran on the apron, 3 and 4 in as Tanner Marr is down low, having problems.
Do you reckon those two might have some correlation between them?
I'm not sure about that. Tanner Marr obviously has an issue if he's staying way down low here.
Might be looking for pit road. Let's jump back. This is Marr. Side slap that outside wall in 4, and that'll do it. And clearly broke something on the car because not handling the way it's supposed to. And yeah, Wareham just coming down the pit road all by his lonesome.
Big tank slapper there, and I think going to pull off the track. Robinson, by the way, he just marked it. That's because he got the connection flag, actually.
Oh.
So the sim itself sent him to pit road and said, you know what, if I'm not going to be able to run laps, I'm not going to run more laps. Parked it down because the connection issues. 5 appears to be done after being involved in the first caution. All while the 2, he takes the net advantage over those who topped off.
And Nickerson just fought his way into a top 10, getting around Dustin Pink, Jeremiah Hobbs as well, right behind, breaking clear of Jason Raymond. And still further outside in the top half of the field, lots of side-by-side to talk about. With the likes of John Osborne fighting with Kyle Wellman, you've got Jonathan Canfield still back here. Scott Shire, winner from earlier in the season, runner-up from earlier in the season in the mix. And Kevin Foster back here as well.
Some of these drivers so far have had a hard time being able to claw their way ahead like some of the others have been able to do. Talked about some of the drivers like the 42 having to bounce back from penalty point situation. Right now, just once those boxed in, trying that outside line. It just does not gain as much momentum as some of the other tracks, though, to be able to use that outside for some of the passes. That's why most people just prefer to run the bottom for much of the time here. You see that right there.
Oh, hold on!
With some trouble.
And around goes Lakey off of turn 4. Somehow nobody hits him, and the caution flag is quickly out once again. And for the second time tonight, we're going to slow this one down.
Yeah, once again, turn 4 strikes. Chaos can reign out of that corner anytime. And we've seen it right there after things cleared up with the 84. Watch right here. See the 77 just able to clear on by on the bottom of the racetrack. And then right about here, Kyle Wellman's got the run. Ends up just clipping on the back bumper and sends him fully around as the check-up effect will also send Canfield around.
I think Canfield managed to pull off a save to the infield. And again, somehow nobody hit David Lakey as he came back across the racetrack. And there was Canfield. Didn't manage to pull that car up with quite a good save right on board with him.
Now, take a look at this once again. Liam already sees the contact, anticipates what's going on, gets the brakes, has to lock it down on the roval. Able to make a good save before it even gets to the middle of the infield. So, able to keep it out of trouble here, get back going.
Now, there's been a secondary incident here, Justin. This is after the caution came out. James Yerger now with a meatball flag. And holy cow! Paul Satberry locked it down to the back straightaway, and James Yerger plows through him.
I think quite simply the 24 went on the binders and trying to lock it up.
I don't know why.
Take a look at this.
This is with Satberry. There was no reason to hit the brakes.
Yeah, he still had some time. I know he wanted to slow down with the pace car coming up. Just right cost himself here as the whole field going to come down in. Is it just me or is it going to be another fuel race? It feels like it to me.
It is 4 tires and fuel for every single driver except Satberry, who has stayed out.
He's got to be coming in second. He had to have missed his pit box, right?
He had to have, because it shows that he did come down pit road. Now, the word we're getting is that Paul Satberry's sim froze, and that is why he hit the brakes. That partially explains it, at least. I mean, no offense to Paul. I question the judgment of, slamming the binders the second your screen locks up, but I mean, not much other options you can do, I suppose.
I guess. But at the very least, able to get some of the repairs done here, get the service he needs. Gonna lose a lot of track position because guess what? They're already doubling up this time, so he's got to hurry. Wants to get back on the racetrack. This, with a lot of the NASCAR refresh circuits, keep in mind, these days, it's more of, for the field, quickie caution flags. A lot of quickie yellows we see these days on the service.
Well, I'm sure that's, all well and good for most of the field. I'm sure the drivers that, need to come down pit road to get damage, I'm sure they would have, liked a little bit more time, especially if you're Satberry. You missed your pit stall the first time around. But, hey, quickie yellows, it gets back to racing quicker. So what am I complaining about?
Yeah, Gilroy so far has been dominant, at least able to keep the clean air so far. But with the timing of this again, being similar to what we've seen in California and some of the other tracks, I don't know. I have a feeling fuel mileage is going to be a talking point later on.
Pace car back down into pit road. And once again, Dalton Kilroe leading the way into the Aqua Park restart zone, and we are back to racing in Charlotte.
Nice and smooth again for the race leaders. Bit not so smooth if you're Scotty Stevens as a caution.
And quickly on this one, and it's a big mess over in turn numbers 3 and 4. At least 3 or 4 cars getting piled up right out of the hitch. Jonathan Canfield in it, Carter Phillips in it, and I think Austin McGill caught wind of that as well. And Justin, it might be one of those nights where a full moon has come out to party with us.
Late afternoon race too. How about that? Quite simply, take a look at this as drivers try and get some of them full speed. Others take a little bit more careful. There's the contact at the bottom of the racetrack from McGill again. That's a second hit. And now that stack up brings another yellow as they slid right back across the track for a moment.
See, Corso got turned as well right at the back of the field, so looked like there may have been a secondary incident in checking up for the main crash. And this will be the whole thing at speed. And right from behind, you'll see Corso come sliding it already backwards, and it looks like Canfield may have tagged him.
So too. Let's take a look at this.
This is with Canfield, Corso in front. Yeah, just couldn't slow in time.
Oh, and drives right into the door for good measure.
Yeah, he had all tires locked up. Couldn't do much in that situation.
And Ross McGill. Again, a case where he kept a pin on the throttle. Authority was blipping the throttle, I think, to make sure it stuck for the corner. And McGill, second time that's happened where he's had speed. And again, taking responsibility for the incident.
Well, and keep in mind, Carter Phillips as well was also kind of stacking it up for Dustin Ping right in front of him, who was a bit slow entering turn 1 as well. So it's Kilroe from Thorpe, from Philbrook, from Marasco, from Rupeck, Haggy, Stevens, Nickerson, Walker, and Hobbs round out the top 10. This is what, caution number 3 on the day. And this one coming out almost as quickly as the initial one did on lap 0.
Yeah, it's been a lot more attrition than you would definitely expect here, but I think if you get the chance to spread the field apart a little bit here, it's a track that usually trends to go green if you let it. The main problem is with just everyone's so bundled up here with these restarts so far. There hasn't been a chance to build those cushions, and keep in mind this car, you cannot make contact with the back bumper in particular. It's so easy to spin anybody out. With the way this car is designed, quite simply, it's where it's going to be a bit tricky until we get past that threshold. Once we get, say, past 20, 25 laps, I think things will calm down a little bit and you limit those chances of drivers stacking it up here.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the big factor, right? Is drivers just need to give each other a little bit more room. I mean, some guys are coming in here, right? They're a bit newer. They're not used to these cars. And I think there still is that mindset. You can give guys a little bit of a nudge like you could at the Gen 7 cars. You just can't do that here, though, because you scoop the rear wheels up and spin the guy out in front of you. So a little bit more discretion, I think, with where you're putting that nose is in order from the field. And that's, you could say the same about Las Vegas, right? Because I think every single caution so far between the two races has been from nose to tail contact, just about.
Yep, absolutely. And now, get ready to see if we end up continuing the trend of cautions, precautions, or if we're going to get a chance to get some green flag laps in here. Kilroe's been well confident up front so far.
Back into the restart zone we go. Green flag is in the air once again, and we take to the track and down towards turn number 1. Thorpe, Marasco, side by side. Thorpe's going to pull clear with second.
Yeah, now a good run off the start for the 34. His best, in fact, of the race. All this again, sees Philbrook yet again having a place of defense. Settle on down, get his confidence back going here. All this as well. We get ourselves past that threshold yet again and getting some laps maybe put up here. Bottom of the racetrack seems to be the place once it gets the fire on.
And so far, bit of side-by-side up at the front. These guys up front here not breaking apart as easily as they did on the first long green flag run that we had. Stay much closer together. Might have learned some lessons from the opening bout of 20 or so laps when we went green the first time. Oh, hold on. Luck out as the 45 Wyatt Walker gets into the door of Scotty Stevens and nearly takes them both out.
And there's a sketchy moment there for the 0-2. All while some of the others in the back of the group having some slow ups there like the 8 already. Canfield trying to make up ground with a damaged race car. Foster having some moments, but again, the 0-2, Scotty Stevens has been all over the racetrack. Here's a look at why the 8 was slow, though. Let's see. Just lost it down in the middle of the quad oval.
And he is not the only one that's had an issue, as Scotty Stevens, I think, may have just had a bit of a moment as well.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was referring to. He's been off one of the restarts, pushed up the hill. This time through, quite simply, pushed up the hill again, this time into the wall. The 0-2 is having a bit of a rough time here of finding a rhythm in his Ford.
2 by as they make their way down the front stretch into turn 1. Jaden Hobb seeking for a top 10 here as he is around the outside of Wyatt Walker and clears into the 10th place spot, while Dustin Ping up 25 today for the Pring Precision Auto Glass number 81 Mount Monte Carlo to the inside of the Mopar number 9, and he is through.
Yep, looking down once again, able to cut their way ahead. Oh wow. See Ping starting to move up a little bit, find that higher groove, be able to plant some rubber down, get the track to where that groove's going to expand a little bit once again over the course of the run. Gives them some clean air on the nose, gets them to plan a little bit differently, just wrap it around the blue line here. See how much it's helping them close up on the car in front to be able to battle with the Blue Moon Machine.
And Jaden Hobb way up the racetrack, trying to find some momentum around the outside of Jeremiah Hobbs. Hobbs got that fresh Goodyear Eagles, and while he has the same fresh tires that everybody else has, he's found something on that outside line, because that 00 is moving.
Well, you say that, he hits the wall. That's going to slow up his momentum in the Hobb. But Elias quickest in final practice, going from Pit Road. Now Will inside the top 10. He is clearly one of the fastest cars on property here tonight. It's going to be the matter of, can he get himself into the leaders? Right now his pace is still on average right now, about a 10th off of what Kilroe's put up.
Meanwhile, back in the field, Jason Raymond, Michael Ramos, Coruscant Bell, and Stevens all in some loose fights of their own, and looking for 3 wide here as Michael Ramos nearly tags Wyatt Walker, now 3 wide out of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. And Ramos forced to yield from the middle groove. Not too much pace that he had there as these guys continued their strong runs coming out of turn number 4.
Just trying to square themselves away here. You see Dustin Pink finally able to get outside. That was a big checkup with Rupek. Just had to get off the gas and nearly de-wedge the car. Rupek well over the place, and that's checking everybody up in this entire group. Rupek putting himself very vulnerable, all because of one lift off the throttle to avoid contact with Ping on his set.
Rupek up to the outside of Benjamin Lacey. Oh boy, getting a little bit tight there, entering turn 1. Rupek keeps the top, your season 1 champion. Keeps up momentum down low. Watch up the racetrack, near door-to-door contact that time by out of turn 2 down the back chute. Into 3. Still a side-by-side fight, but it looks like the outside lane has finally been rubbered in enough that it's viable.
Yep, but the caution is out. Another yellow.
Oh, hold on.
Another spin. Oh, no.
Multiple cars crunching into Michael Keithley, who was stopped right at the bottom of turn 4. Scott Shire involved, part of an Old School Racers 1-2 finish, careening into his teammate, Jonathan Canfield. Getting caught up in this as well with a lot of damage on the front end of his car.
Yeah, the points leader getting into his first major hit of the season from that. And again, 4 checked up. It was Keithley who went around off the nose of the 24. So watch this right here. He left the bottom a little bit open, but South Mary just misses the bottom itself. Turns around the Guardian machine, and then you would think everything's going to be fine. Just a single, maybe 2-car incident. They all lock it down here, but some drivers just do not check up in time. Again, Canfield does not get on the brakes in time and checks up and slams 4 cars.
Man, that's such a shame because Scott Shire absolutely had that slowed up enough that he could have missed Michael Keithley and just got turned around as a result. Wasn't even a bad crash. I mean, Keithley could have walked away with that, put some fresh tires on, you're good to go, but that hit right there did him in, and oh, that's a big hit to the wall as well. That's Mike Massengill that got collected. He rebounded off of the inside wall as well.
Yeah. They're hard ricochet. Mike Massengill, remember, did not put him in qualifying time in the first place. And you see right here, he gets it down to speed, hits the bottom, but has the ricochet, no place to go, but the inside wall, he gets hit off before. And a lot of cars, yet again, coming on down, except for 4. Nickerson, Hart, Mixon, Linky did not come down. Tire sets are starting to become an issue here.
And critically, a good chunk of drivers with the fuel only. Dalton Kilrow all the way back to Larry Bell, with the exception of Ryan Philbury, have taken fuel only. Fuel only as well for Dees, Satmary, and Phillips. While other drivers, they will have likely expended. You know, 1 second here, checking how many tire sets we have for the race. We only have 4. Some drivers have expended half of their available tires already, and we're only a third of the way through.
Yeah, this is going to require a lot of different strategies to come up here as a result here. It's crew chief's nightmare here when you use sets where you're going to play the fuel game. It's going to become a bit of a lottery later on if we keep on going the way this is here, Nolan. That's the concern.
And some running order shenanigans getting a bit sorted out here at the front end of this one. Boy, an attrition-filled race so far, definitely more so than we had at Vegas, and I expected this race to be the calm one in Las Vegas, to be the chaotic one. It seems like we're getting a complete role reversal here.
Yeah, now different players, and for the first time, Kilroy's going to have to deal with some dirty air here with this situation. At this point, it's going to be how well you approach things. Remember the fall off. It's already pretty significant. The last time we got a decent run around this number, right, it's around 0.7 of a second. So this pack is going to have a lot of heads-up driving to get through cleanly here.
Well, we have a bit of a moment here. So let's give a chance to give a shout out to the folks that keep the lights on here for the High Tide Racing League Premier Series. This race brought to you by Ohio and Indiana Roofing, a premier roofing contractor and sister company to the Bruns Construction Enterprise, specializing in commercial and industrial roofing, and are committed to accommodating the unique needs of each client and operating creative solutions to meet said needs. They're a team of individuals that believe in the same common goals: professionalism, quality, and service. Services they offer include preventative maintenance, re-roof, new construction, infrared scanning, green roof solutions, metal, retrofitting, emergency repair services, and more. Visit www.oiroofing.com for more information. Green flag is out this time by, and once again, we're on the loud pedal.
Now the true test for some of the drivers is on here.
Oh boy.
Out. Already a lot of shuffling. Kilroy didn't get a great launch. Thorpe did, though. Thorpe is already the first on the freshies. And he's making his way through. No, it's going to be the 97 of Hagee, in fact, that's the first on freshies.
Eddie Hagee breaking clear with the fresh rubber, trying to run down the top two of Ricky Hart Jr. and Nick Nickerson now, as everyone else fires out of turn number 4. It's a complete madhouse as drivers on fresh rubber trying to get around drivers on the slower tires. Oh, look out as Rupek gets hung up on the transition there just a little bit. He gathers it up, though. And still 2 wide. Some looking for 3 down the back.
How about 3 indeed down into turn 3. Hobbs didn't get clear. Mixon stays down to the bottom at least for his good effort. That box is in Lacey, but absolute disaster. Nearly once again for Hobbs. And the air goes Mixon into the grass.
Gathers it up. He recovers. So Christopher Mixon will rejoin all the way at the tail end of the field. I'm sure not a happy camper, but all the same, we will have no caution, and this race stays green. Wyatt Walker trying to claw his way to the field. David Lakey right now a massive anchor for this field as drivers are struggling to get around him.
Yep, at this point, gotta hurry for some of the drivers to make up spots with these older tire machines. Gonna really be struggling out here already. Seeing one of them plummet down, Nixon already at the tail end of the lead lap. So it's about having heads up driving, having to pick the right line to make sure you don't get stuck. With the center speed gonna be so much slower for some of these drivers. You see that right now with the 84. That's causing another stack up again. Hobbs did get clear, but Kyle Wellman is stuck now in the high side box did.
Kyle Wellman trying to make a run up to the top shelf. David Lakey in the mix. With the likes of Jason Raymond holding on in front, and also in the fight, Larry Bell and Kevin Foster, with Foster holding his machine down on the inside line. Approaching the halfway point in about 10-12 laps or so. And we still have a good 30 cars here on the racetrack.
All this is still, remember, Hobbs and that Dodge has been all day long a little bit contact here tonight. Keep it out of more trouble, to say the very least. Others, such as Marasco and a few of the others, trying to get themselves into a flow of things. Once again, Jaden Hopp, we know, is fast in his respective pack. Some of the others, and the chance to rip down the gap. Scotty Stevens, once again, a big bobble. He's just not getting comfortable with the racetrack there. Hopp is definitely comfortable for countermeasures. You see him right behind Kilrow as we go back to the back.
Sean Williams, Larry Bell, letting Nicholas Coruscant through. And a bit of a tight moment there, going to get itself doubled out. There goes Dalton Kilrow to the inside of Dustin Ping. So Season 3 and Season 2 champions fight it out. Heck, you got 3 champions all in one battle here. You got 2, 3, and defending. All line astern with Daniel Rupek, one of the rookies, trying to usurp all 3 of them, along with fellow rookie Michael Ramos. And in fact, make all 4 champions now in one shot. And around, gonna go Wyatt Walker and Ty Marasco. Caution's
they're
out.
Still wrecking.
Oh boy. And that's Jason Raymond.
Yeah, he came right back across the racetrack, Raymond did, into the path of Stevens. Just nothing Stevens could do except lock it down and hope for the best. A lot of carnage again. We're not even at halfway yet.
Oh boy. It's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be one of those nights as coming off of 4. Marasco didn't fully track out to the wall, and the 45 just right reared him. I guess was trying to get in line, but clearly misjudged it. Oh my god. Look at how the 49 spun out. That's one of the dangest things. I can't recall ever seeing a car just lose it like that so suddenly.
Seen it a couple times here tonight where drivers just lost in the middle of the quad oval.
Yeah.
Right there, Marasco trying to get loose, and yeah, just misjudged it with how they were approaching the quad oval.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Carrasco clipped a little bit of the grass, and that transition with the pavement spun him around.
Yeah, the car was already loose. That explains a lot. It kind of looked like it just went straight on and then just lost it out of left field from that first angle. But yeah, that'll do it. Let's ride on board here with the 45. So Marasco's saving fuel. You heard him put in the clutch there. Walker gets the run off of 4 and just takes him out.
I don't think there was any intention to it. It's just that just maybe expecting Marasco to be a touch bit lower in the quad oval. Almost got involved in the second time over.
Yeah.
But that's again going to flip the strategies around. Another roulette of strategy as at least 6 cars stayed out this time. And some people went fuel only.
Caution is once again out on the Speedway for about the 5th time tonight. And boy, it is looking like it is not going to be any more pleasant from here to the end, as it is getting physical here at America's home for racing. We'll be back in a moment with more on Green Flag TV. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV, where we are seconds away from return to the Green Flag Racing. 5 cautions so far in just the opening half of this race, and boy, it is not looking like the action is going to be dying down anytime soon. My name is Nolan Rempel alongside Justin Prince as we bring you the action from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And JP, this race has been a doozy so far for some.
Lots of attrition, lots of contact, and now we have a tie roulette when it comes to strategy. We have some drivers who have pit 5 times, some have only pit a couple times in this race already, burning a couple of their available sets. The pressure is on for some. Jaden Hopp, though, up at the front with Kilroe in control.
Green flag back in the air. 6 or 7 laps away from the halfway mark. And Dalton Kilroe able to get away well. 7th on back have come down to pit road, and a vast majority barred 2. Those 2 being Wellman and Satmary on fresh rubber. So it's going to get dicey up at the front as drivers on fresh tires start to cut through the field.
Trying to find a way as quick as they can around these drivers. Remember, not as big of a difference here on the rubber. You're talking maybe 10 green flag laps for some of the drivers here. Compared to up in the front. It's going to be a matter of how well they hold up here. This is going to be a test for some later on today. As look at the 2 that run Wellman on the fuel-only call. That's not working out the best right now, but he obviously has to be thinking about the fuel mileage more so than right now.
Kyle Wellman started the drop of the field after he's burned his advantage on the restart. Now that drivers are getting back up to speed. All throughout the pack, still got a lot of contenders here looking to be too wide. And here we go, looking for 3 on the back straightaway as drivers scramble. I think Wellman may have hit the wall.
little bit sketchy there. Yet again, have to think big picture is not the situation, especially with the strategy you're talking about. For a lot of drivers here, they can maybe make it on and should be able to make it on a one-stop. The others are a little bit more iffy on that fuel number from this point forward as a result of how these cautions have flown. But looking up front, right now Hop still third of the call. The 2 is the fastest out of those on the pitting strategy. He's trying to get and take advantage of all the track position, having a problem trying to pass up.
And Nick Nickerson outside of 3 wide at door-to-door contact with Rupeg with Benjamin Lacey all the way down on the inside of the racetrack. And now Nicholas Corcel, the winner from Auto Club, down the inside of Dalton Kilroe, looking to take his second win of the season here. As he pushes up from the apron, Kilroe almost strikes the outside wall, and Nicholas Corcel, don't think he led the lap that time by, but trying to lead his first laps of the night.
A chance for Corcel to take advantage of the situation. He's normally been save, more fuel save a lot of gas when it comes to his approach. But now with the way things are going, he has a little bit more flexibility to push with the way the fuel windows look like they're going to play out to line. So at this point, Corcel can try and let it hang loose. The pressure's going to be on though, as the 2 is quicker by a couple tenths a lap while in traffic.
All of this as it'll be halfway home this time by. It's taken a while to reach this point, but could this be the moment where we see some green flag running finally start to carry out? Nick Nickerson still holding on to the outside of Benjamin Lacey for that final podium position, but Lacey takes that one down the inside, and Dalton Kilroe is fading faster. I think he has completely burned his stuff up.
Yeah, I think his tires might be feeling a little bit of the pressure here. Remember, he was trying to push aggressively before to pass by some of the traffic earlier. Now you have some of the ramifications of that, as well as a couple of technical differences. We're seeing some of those drivers who were flying to the field on the difference earlier struggle a bit. Phil Brick taking the opportunity here to just rip down to the bottom of the racetrack and make these moves as swift as possible.
Still side by side, Eddie Haggy tries to jump Nickerson into turn 3, but the 2 quickly covering him off. Not enough though, as he slipped from the inside. Hold on, clock tap behind as Rupek muscles. I think that was Jeremiah Hobbs at the racetrack, and he backed out. That was a good move because that allowed for Hobbs to save the car and keep us going green.
A scary moment yet again as some 3 wide pops up. Payne nearly lost it for a moment on the pass.
And trouble back straight away. Paul Savage spinning down, big hit into the inside wall. Marasco's up into the air. Somehow no caution flag. Now the caution comes out because Marasco drove it back onto the racetrack.
And some wicked hits yet again popping up. And that's right where the roval is at part of the racetrack, that low on the circuit. I think it's South Mary again who got involved and was a part of the catalyst on why we're back under caution again.
Yeah, Satmar, I think, was the first car that got turned. It would have been courtesy of David Lakey behind, another driver that's been collected. And actually, no, Satmar lost it by himself. And then Lakey just finished the job. Watch this hit here. Lakey up into the air and a brutal impact into that inside wall. Same for the 77, and there goes Marasco getting tagged up into the air.
And some of these drivers were fast competitors too all throughout the night. Not anymore. Right here, Nick gets the double whammy. Just destroys the motor.
Harsh hit into the wall for Lakey in particular. He definitely got the worst out of this one. And bam! think that's the 77 of John Osborne, also involved.
Just absolutely crushed, to at least from the contact once again. But roulette strikes again. We're running out of race cars here, by the way. We're at nearly half the field out of the race. We've had so many stack-ups here. This has been a wild one.
On board with Lakey here, and yeah, just nothing he could have done. And he's gassing up, trying to get through, and just missed the mark.
Yep. A meaty meatball.
Big time.
But now, more roulette action. A few drivers did come down, but not as many. And now this is the massive concern for your tire sets is where you plot and plan when you come down. For a lot of these drivers, it's more so about the track position than it is risking being out of sets later on in the race. This has been an attrition-filled one. We're talking about, Matt Surge, right, clean cars. We're like less than 20 remaining in terms of cleanness.
Let's go out aboard the iRacing pace car once more. It has been a brutal night of racing here so far. And it is potentially going to be another brutal night for the Mid-Atlantic Racing Series at Phoenix next Tuesday. PSR will be racing at Auto Club for their season finale. We'll talk about them a little bit more tonight as well. The Beer League out again on Wednesday. The Zero Torque Racing League in particular going to be a fun ride because they are headed to Indianapolis Motor Speedway as a prelude to the 8th annual Paper Recycling Systems Indy 500 for the Classic IndyCar Series comes Sunday. And then a triple header on Saturday. The FTR Trophy.ai Endurance Series takes to Sebring for a 4-hour enduro. Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Series will be out at Phoenix Racing for their season finale on Saturday alongside the SRA Super Speedway Blitz at the Echo Park Speedway as well this coming Saturday. So lots of fun races coming on up here this week, and quite a few wrapping up their championships as well, and could be just as physical of fights as we've seen here tonight as we get set to go back to green.
Let's hope this goes green for some. We'll see how clean they race it out now. As a late jump to the restart zone this time.
Bit of a later jump, but we are still able to get away into turn one clean and green. Coruscant leads the way. Nickerson second. Philbritt back in third. Double file all the way back to the field from there. And once again, a split decision on those that came down to pit road, whether you're taking tires or fuel, but I'm starting to think that those fresh tires aren't doing too much here with how many cautions we've been having. And Nickerson tried to go for the lead in four, didn't work.
Still trying to sort things out quickly, but look at the two. Here he goes to the inside. Has better rotation through the center right now, down along the blue line. Fairway Cornstill's getting high side.
Driving it deep into 3 and 4 this time out. Nickerson down to the inside. Coruscant up on the outside. And Coruscant maintaining that high momentum, trying to use that to his advantage to hold on to the lead of the race, but Nick's got the bottom lane figured out, so you got unstoppable force meeting a movable object here as they've been side by side for almost 5 straight laps now.
Yeah, good battling, but the two again just able to clear because he's been the quicker of them. Keep an eye on Philbritt, though. He's been just quietly in the conversation with track position much of the evening. He's got himself a good car. Keep in mind as well, Jaden Hopp, who's right now on fresher tires, he's also someone to watch for this run, who's already sliced his way up to 8 in this Pack 2.
look deeper in the field, side by side, all the way back from 10th as Kevin Foster trying to hold on to the top 10 from Larry Bell. You've also got Lacey and Walker that are getting set to go at it. And oh boy! Oh, and around Jeremiah Hobbs into turn number 3. Heads up, back up the racetrack, and somehow everyone avoids him. Although Kyle Wellman was just put into the outside wall as someone on the inside went evasive.
That could have been much worse than it was, but and the field's favorite color tonight is the yellow. We're getting plenty of them here this evening once again. Watch this again. You have Phil Brick.
Not clear.
Yeah, Hobbs wiggled around, not clear, and around he goes.
Very high speed slide, and this could have been disastrous here. Great job from the field to avoid that, and it was the 57 that ended up putting Kyle Wellman to the wall. That is Christopher Mixon getting involved in yet another incident, but this one definitely oh, I think Wellman might not have been too happy about it.
Yeah, probably not here. Right there. Also the contact, and then right here, just gets squished into the wall. And definitely a little bit of anger response. That looked at.
Hard to say though, because I mean, at the same time, I think Wellman might have the plausible deniability of, hey, the car blinked out. I didn't know he was right there.
And up for the brakes, and you see the contact from behind into the wall.
What do you think?
Yeah, he also cut hard left.
Yeah, that could go either way in the steward's office. Just from if there wasn't a blink out there, I would agree. But that's gonna be an interesting discussion post race. He has not been penalized for it yet. Let's put it that way.
His race was already demolished from that contact as a result there, and yet again we had a few more people pitted again. We're down to 18 clean cars. We started with 40. That says a lot on how tonight is going on when you've already lost more than half of a 40 car field.
And keep in mind, even if we have 18 clean cars, we are still left with only 24, potentially 23 on the track in general, which makes it even worse.
Again, a stunning night when it comes to the run. Absolutely. It's it's going to be an interesting night for race control, to say the very least here, and it's going to be probably a stern message after this one. We are still not in the green light to make it on fuel, I think by a few laps, by the way. So for some of those who just pit, if it goes green, it might come a fuel mileage race. Now it's getting dark out also, because we've had so many cautions. The sun is starting to really set.
Yeah, the stadium lights have just flicked on here over Daytona. You see the pace car turn on the high beams. So this race is going to continue to get darker and darker as time moves along. This is the look from Mixon as he scrambled to try and avoid the crash in front of him.
Did he even left?
He lifted, but he definitely didn't brake. I feel like there could have been a little bit more from Mixon's side to avoid that as well.
Yeah, that could have been a lot more different with the braking, but here we go for a restart. This entire field has been flipped on its head on strategy yet again. It's been a roulette. We'll see who wins it.
Green flag coming out this time by And we are back to racing here at America's home for motorsports. And look out, Haggy sideways, 4 wide in turn 1. They're able to keep it back down to 3. Dees hits the wall, and Jaden Hopp picks up 3 spots in 1 turn.
That got sketchy yet again. Remember, Hopp pressure tires the most on his strategy. We'll have to see where this plays out for the rest. All of this as well. We get ready to see where things go for the rest of the pack. You see right now drivers like Rainbows. He was turned around at the start of this race, by the way. Back up to 9th, back in the conversation for a solid finish. Look at the run again by the 8 of Foster.
Amazing how quickly things can change. Kevin Foster still holding the inside of Benjamin Lacey. Brian Dees tracking up on the inside, nearly gotten to Ricky Hart Jr. Rainbow still maintaining that momentum all the way up high. New fastest lap for the race, this time set by Jaden Hopp, who is quickly running down your race leader. And around for Philbrick. Hard into the inside wall, no yellow yet. And we're not going to get one.
He was a contender much of the night, that clear-cut painting co-machine. I think got a love tap from behind after he got loose. He definitely got looser after the hit from behind from Hagee.
Pretty big lick into the wall as well. This is what just got loose, and Hagee finished the job, like we've seen so many times today.
Still, you're talking about 50 laps to go. Still a long way to go, but look at how far Hopp's come. He's ready to go for the point. Here comes the Nexus machine.
Up around the outside line of Nick Nickerson. Jaden Hopp, remember, trying to go back-to-back from Nevada to Concord. And Jaden Hopp to the lead, and he's going to finally get the chance to lead some laps after starting back in 26th on the grid after a botched qualifying attempt.
Now this has been a great recovery from him, absolutely, but some of these others are going to try and see if they can position themselves to join him pretty soon, like Wyatt Walker, G&W Racing. They've had plenty of their cars over the field tonight, just at the very least, with the team split. All the Walkers have done well. Philbrick, of course, has done well with that unit here tonight. So at this point for Wyatt, he's trying to prove why he's in the fight for car 1209. Here we go again.
Phillips around, and the trial caution is out. Everyone misses him, and we slow her down again. And that one, Justin, I could see coming from a mile off.
Just continuously time in and time out. Cautions breed cautions.
We're not going to have anybody left by the end of this race, as it was 45 again, tracking wide into someone, and Kyle Wellman is the one that finishes it off.
Just what else can you say? Cautions continue to breed more caution flags.
Ay, ay, ay.
I think this takes the fuel window at least, though.
You reckon?
I think so. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of fuel strategy here and some people burn one of their final sets here.
Well, they're still working the back straightaway under this first lap here. Down now to just 22 cars on the racetrack. After we started with 40, we have lost about half the field, quite literally half the field as a matter of fact, and I wouldn't be shocked if we had under 20 cars by the time this race came to a close with how this has been going.
Wouldn't be a shock to me either, absolutely, with how things have fared out here. I think for the field, this is interesting. Some drivers electing to stay out here, but most of the field, as you would expect, coming in, equalize the strategies, and from here on out, it's going to become the matter of, do you have a set to finish out the race? I think for most of these teams, the answer is going to be no here, Nolan.
Oh boy. Yeah, we're talking over 5. Some drivers taking their 5th pit stop already. Sean Wilde has come down to pit road 10 times over the course of the night, and he is running a whopping 8th place here in this one. It's got to be closing in on the record. I can't recall any other race where we had the pit timer hit the pit counter hit double digits. Scott Shire has pitted 11 times this race, and granted, most of those would have been for topping up on fuel.
Yeah, at this point, too, you have some of them who have absolutely had it for damage repairs, like Wellman, just the most recent couple. You'll usually see that when you have a race like this one, especially with the caution totals.
Well, we got plenty of racing action still yet to come up as well, and among the championships that are set to draw to a close here in this season, you of course have got yourself the the Premier Sim Racing Outlet Motorsports Truck Series as they get set to close out a season at the Auto Club Speedway this coming Wednesday. 3 different championships are set to draw to a head here this afternoon. We, of course, have the battle for best of the rest. Nicholas Costa trying to hold on to a 9-point lead over Toomer and Williams. What about Regan Boog Motorsports? Can they hold off Waterbag race for the team's championship? And finally, a year-long playoff title. Will it be Regan, Holly, Lowendick, or Kalen? One way to find out, and that is to tune in to Wednesday night on Green Flag TV for the season finale of the Outlet Motorsports Truck Series, a night of action at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, that you are not going to want to miss. And Justin?
Be a fun night.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was about to say, going to be on the call for that one. That's going to be a fun night. We had Richard Regan Jr. actually last night. I know he was pumped up to see a chance for his team to battle for a championship and himself for another title when it comes to that type of series.
Championship nights are always fun, especially when you swing out west to California. Something special about it. Maybe that's the Cars mentality from me kicking in here.
But all this is going to be interesting for the race itself now. 44 to go. Will it go green?
My money's on probably not. Green flag is up in the air. And we hop to it. Lacey getting a good drive off. Ricky Hart Jr. looking to the outside. Rupek back in third. 2 by 2 from 4th on down. Wyatt Walker's broken clear. Ramos still fighting with Larry Bell. 3 wide just behind Dustin Ping. Kilrow, Thorpe, Hop, Dees, and Nick Christen all under a blank with the 27 and the 43.
Entire field at this point just trying to make sure they are wrapped with bubble wrap with the way things have gone tonight. Kilrow looked like the dominant car early. He is right now just spinning. Ever since he fell back after one of the restarts, he's just not been able to pick up the spots. Been having a hard time making passes without the track position already in hand.
Daniel Rupek looking to make that move on Ricky Hart Jr. for the 2nd place spot as well. So a rookie facing off against a driver that we have not seen in active HTRL competition since season 1, trying to go at it, while Nickerson takes it 3 wide up the middle of both Walker and Bell.
I'm looking at now a little bit chippy still for the 41. McCopter's trying to feel himself a little bit right now. He is right now forward on his strategy. Remember, Ramos had a 7-second stop, then he had a fuel only or a 2-tire call in track position. So some of the drivers have tried something a bit different here as Hop, look at that cut on through, just snuck through the middle.
got helped out by Wyatt Walker, clipping the outside wall on the entry to turn 1. And Thorpe is going to try to follow him through. Once again, we are 3 wide, and Wyatt Walker on that old rubber, stuck on the outside. 40 laps to go, and Thorpe unable to shoot the middle. Kilrow uses the 3 wide to break away on the inside, and Thorpe with a masterful over-under as he tries to pounce on the exit of 2.
Yeah, a little bit chippy here once again for them. Thorpe pushed the envelope a couple times off these starts in the Guardian machine. Kind of has to get the elbows out from this point forward. You're running out of opportunities to be able to make passes. You're running out of chances at this point. If he knows he's quicker, bottom out a fair bit though with the sparks as he's also making up the ground.
Wyatt Walker, Eddie Hagge, Dustin Ping all under a blanket. Dustin Ping with an aggressive chop across the nose of the 97. Trying to follow after Brian Dees up at the head of this field. But despite all the causes we've had tonight, the aggression has not gone away at all.
No, it's stayed pretty aggressive much of the evening, I will say. For a lot of these competitors, they've kept the urgency high. They've been forcing the issue a lot of the time here, especially when you think about the battles that we've seen in the edge of the top 10 tonight. For Thorpe, running 29.7 at the moment. He's running just about the pace of that quicker than the race leaders. He's knocking some time down. Position after position. Same for Payne as an error. Payne off from contact.
Oh, hold on, sliding up off the apron, and Dustin Ping's able to get it up before he tracks into the door of Dalton Kilrow. Not Dalton Kilrow, sorry. The 39 car, James Yerger. So Dustin Ping having a bit of a close shave. Brian Dees right behind him. Oh, and now Haggis into the wall out of 4.
That's all you can say. Checked everything up yet again, and now there's a split in this field. 1 minute contact. Give credit to Woman, he's still surviving, but up front yet again. Look at how things are going with the 34. He's knocking the time down. Now catching up to Ramos. The tough thing is, though, the next pack's already broken away by more than a second. That's how big of a run they've had so far. Staying in the 29-second bracket on their close up to the rest of the leaders.
And the 28 car, Ricky Hart Jr. sweeps up the racetrack, trying to chase after Larry Bell. Bell still retaining a run in 7th place after he climbed 15 spots on the day. A lot of that coming out of attrition, but hey, at the end of the day, if you want to get a good finish, half the job is keeping your nose clean, and he has done a fantastic job of that so far.
Agree with you on that one. It's been pretty impressive. We've seen, especially compared to some of the others that have been bouncing around like bouncy balls here. But Bell, sometimes quiet is good to be able to get good points hauls. Is look at this again. Yerger slow, taking 3 wide. He can drive by. Get by quickly as Kilrow continues to plummet.
James Yerger is relying way too much on that blue line. He's been hugging it so much, and sometimes he dips 2 wheels on the other side of it. That's what happened in turn 2. We dipped 2 wheels on the bottom, and well, the back end started to come around on him. He was able to hold it, but can't rely too much on that blue line, and you're going to end up finding out that it's not something you want to play with.
You have to be careful with it. You want to be down at the blue line, but not technically on top of it per se. The paint is slippery, as some people like Anthony Alfredo will tell you. It will cause you to snap around a little bit if you're on top of the paint. It's not much traction compared to just running on a normal seam of the pavement. So you have to be so careful. You see Yerger right there, for example, on top of it, just about clipping the bottom of the apron as well. That caused him to nearly snap around and lose some time, has to reset.
James Yerger continuing to hold on to 11th. Jeremiah Hobbs right behind. Benjamin Lacey could be under fire because here comes Nick Nickerson right behind, trying to challenge Benjamin Lacey for a race win.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for the two. He's had speed for parts of this season so far. It's been about the finishing position, right? That's been the huge thing. So far tonight, Nick has been extremely quick, looking to add to one top 10 that he's had all season. And look at this into Lacey.
Oh, and under the wall. 3 wide now for the lead. Is Jaden Hopp going to fight his way through as well? And boy, I don't know if Lacey's going to take kindly to that, as Jeremiah Hobbs pushing Benjamin Lacey up and into the outside wall.
Yikes is all you can say yet again with that one, but Hopp able to take advantage from the two pushing too hard. Watch Nickerson. You see right here. Thinks he's going to be able to clear. No, Lacey was running middle, a little bit lower line. Slows him up on the momentum. Hopp takes advantage, drives by the both.
Boy, tough break for Nick. Chasing his first race win since June earlier this year at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course last season. And that is now allowing for Daniel Rupek to take over that final podium position. Benjamin Lacey will have to tuck back in line. Well, maybe not quite. He's still trying to fight for that last podium spot.
He's got to try something here. The thing is, though, I'm not sure if Lacey's going to be able to make it on gas if it stays green. He's going to be one of those, keep in mind, where, but on the cautions, it might be one of the drivers looking to see if they can fly on fresher tires. If they can get some luck of a yellow flag, is a bit of a moment for the 34.
Thorpe down to the inside, pulls it up underneath him, and thought we were about to get our next yellow flag, because usually when you see a car shoot down to that kind of an angle, they're either hitting a wall or they're overcorrecting and spinning back onto the racetrack. But Thorpe pulling it together. He has been something of a bit of a car-saving guru. He has definitely had some of the more remarkable recoveries in HTRL history, and well, unfazed as he fights the inside of Lacey now.
Right now, see right now how much Lacey's tires are starting to really fall off here. As there he goes, cannot go much further. Has to come down, stop any more bleeding. Knows that this race, like we're trying to stay green with the way things are shaping up, may as well come in, get the fuel, go from there.
Larry Bell, meanwhile, fighting it out with James Yerger, and man, Yerger almost getting tagged by Bell. Bell up into the outside wall in the back straightaway. And that lets Ty Marasco find a hole on the inside of the DQ number 1. On the outside, Ricky Hart Jr. leading this pack of 6 or so up at 8th spot.
Yep, at this point, Burgers of Unso's have been bounced around a fair bit tonight. Been able to get the damage fixed at least. I think as a driver, he's got the ability to give himself a decent top 10 run. So he's in more trouble here. Give a credit to Marasco. Marasco's car was destroyed as well a while ago, as we just had the 2 pit.
Nick Kirsten
As,
is pitted.
oh no!
Oh,
Newell nearly got turned.
well, they pull it together right as green flag pit stops kick off. And keep in mind, Nick Kirsten was only 22 laps in the stint. These guys here are on 23. I don't think anyone can make it to pit road if that's the case, or make it to the end.
My thought would have been you could make it, but I'm a little surprised here. It's still 18 gallons in the tank. Is the fuel burn just that high? And you're talking about most of the field just having to make it 46 laps. This is interesting because a lot of people, it looks like, do not feel the confidence here. This is really intriguing.
Well, these cars were much bigger gas guzzlers than the Gen 7 cars of today with their lower horsepower. So it could very well be the case that you just can't make the distance, because you just have Ricky Hart Jr. 42 laps on the stint coming to pit road. Same with Wyatt Walker, who had 34 laps on the stint. Yeah, I don't think they can make it. Some drivers are trying to save, though, like Marasco and Yerger.
Yeah, this is another fuel mileage race, even when you don't expect it to be a fuel mileage race, I guess you could say. I think for most of the field, they're just waiting to see if there's an air caution, especially with the close calls we just seen a few moments ago. But now it's going to be the matter of, will this shake up? Will this be another week where Hobbs a fast car as there's a near contact off the pit road exit? And will this be another week where the fastest cars of the night going end up not getting the win because they didn't play the field game?
Kevin Foster catches the wall. Larry Bell on fresh tires, going to duck on through. Las Vegas was such an interesting race with the fuel strategy, and now, oh, hold on, as Foster, doored by Carter Phillips, who thought it was going to clear him into turn one. Not so. And Phillips able to gather things up, but jeez. Bit of a moment, and here comes Rupak from third place in the pit road.
Now, just continuing the window, he was only 38. The max has to be 40, not 50, if Michael was originally thinking here. If this is the case here with the way things are shaping up here with the numbers. As this is now gonna be a tight squeeze for much of this field here. And some of the people are realizing that others are just pushing as hard as they might for the best. I'm curious what the 00 does here. Because, again, championship will be a lot more different if the fuel tanks were just a touch bit bigger here. He is clutching.
Into every single corner, no less. So Jaden Hopp, and I think a good number of other cars on the lead lap right now, they are trying to see if they can clutch and coast and save what little fuel they need to stretch this one to the end of the race.
Yeah, you kind of have to at this point. And in some cases, I'm noticing people are turning off the motors, which another factor that can come into play. Seeing that with a light blip from Hawk. So some of these drivers have really slowed down the pace. One of the 1-2 second fall off all of a sudden here. Trying to go into an aggressive save after getting to the track position. Others hoping the track position falls to them as we go here. You see some of the differences with some of the drivers who avoid pit.
Dustin Payne down pit road. He could not make the distance. And drivers like Wellman and Bell have got to be careful here, right? Because they're ducking the right past a bunch of drivers that are putting the clutch in. They're coasting. They're running several seconds a lap slower. You got to keep your wits about you when you're lapping cars that are several seconds slower than you, because you're going to approach them, especially mid-corner, a heck of a lot quicker than you think you are.
Exactly. But my thing is, for anybody who's come down a pit, I don't know if there's going to be enough time if anybody stretches it on the gas here to be able to get all the way around. Quite simply, right now you're talking about how to make up 36 seconds, for example, to Jaden Hopp if you are the 7 of Benjamin Lacey. That's not happening if it stays green. So there is that bit of a factor of luck coming into play here, as there's Lacey driving by some of the others that have already come through. These two fast tonight, especially the 2 machine. But right now, we'll see if there's any fisticuffs again.
13 laps. Plenty of opportunities for something like this to happen. Nick Christin, 2-lap fresher tires than Lacey. He's going to cut to the inside and try to pick off the inaugural champion, and he is going to do so. Next in his sights, Michael Thorpe Jr. That is second place on the lead lap. So looking to unlap themselves from Jaden Hopp. Like I said, they're not going to make it all the way around, but they are gambling that maybe they could get a lucky caution to bail them out. I think a bigger question, right, if you do get a caution flag, if you're Jaden Hopp, do you come down pit road to top up, or do you just save it with the yellow flag and hope you can make it?
Save at this point, has to save. Quite simply, the strategy's forced. at this point, if you're Hop, get some points on the board. He's been lightning fast all season. I argue one of the fastest cars on all season. It's a chance to get another win on the board here tonight. At this point, if he can get the mileage down, he can get himself a checker flag here. It's just going to be the important factor on being consistent on his fuel save. He's going to be close.
It's been quite a month for fuel mileage races so far. Obviously, you had last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and you also had during the Super Speedway Blitz an under caution fuel mileage race. Of course, that was a race that ended under the yellow flag, but the race leader, Zane Bailey, taking his third win in a row there, ended up getting pushed by one of his teammates because he had fully shut the car off. It was just being pushed around by a fellow Team IAL member the entire time they were under caution until they had to double it back up. I mean, these guys, they'll always find innovative ways to try and save fuel whatever chance they can get.
And at this point, this is going to be that mad scramble. I don't think Hop is saving as hard anymore, by the way. Not sure if he's reached the number or not with less than 10 laps to go. He's already got 6 seconds over the rest of the field, who is saving even more heavier than some of the others. You see some of the other battles popping up still, like here. Williams, Hunsel's already at 37 laps, had topped off during the caution period. Some of these drivers gonna be very tight here.
Oh, and Hankey's just been turned into turn number 1 while Walker ran him over. And that was some of that situational awareness that I was talking about. You gotta be attentive of that when you're coming down into these corners. And Eddie Hagee looking like he's going to be able to keep this one safe and sound. But boy, a close call coming off of turn number 4 there that time by.
Oh my yikes is all you can say. Just misjudged how hard the 97 was going to clutch and coast. Could have been much, much worse in that situation for the Benjamin Lacey technical issue out of the race. Another disastrous finishing result for a former champion.
Man, just when you think they might have had something, technical issues befall them, and man, what a tough break. Well, the pack continuing to make some solid efforts here as drivers will keep up the battles. 5 laps to go this time through.
This is still, for much of the field, close quarters, fuel mileage racing. Well, we have some drivers having some excursions on the back. Rupek nearly just had an incident trying to pass by Larry Bell, but everybody else just trying to go hard save. You're talking 31, 32-second lap times. How much they're just clutching, coasting. And that's how tight the window and margins are. Mind you, some of the drivers were the farthest by far they've run by at least 3 laps now.
Still not seeing any sign of other drivers coming to pit road. Jaden Hobb trying to go back-to-back, 3 laps the distance. Still punching in the clutch every single corner, trying to see if he can make that distance work. And it'll be 3 miles to go, this time by at the line.
Been a wild night, but Ty Marasco, caution!
Oh no! And I think it was Thorpe. Thorpe and Hobbs potentially bringing this one out, and it's overtime. The fuel strategy is up in smoke, and that is the caution that quite a few drivers have been waiting on. Now, do you have the fuel for overtime?
Do you even have the tires for overtime? I don't know how this is going to play out, but this field is now gotta be in panic mode. Quite simply,
As we come around.
Absolutely. I think the 34 missed the bottom. Yeah, absolutely missed the bottom, trying to clutch and coast and push up into the 9.
And he's going to spin Jeremiah Hobbs out in turn 1. Wyatt Walker just skates through there. And Walker's
Thorpe is out of fuel on the track.
Oh, boy. And Thorpe is on the same pit strategy as Hop. I think you got to pit. I don't think you have a choice.
Yeah, you're really pushing it right now with the extra few laps of mileage now. But we're about to really find out who's got some tires, aren't we?
Ramos is also out of fuel, I think. That or he had to just wait for a spot before he could come down pit road. He was real slow on the inside, and Thorpe's not going to make it to pit road here, Justin.
That might give a lot of people some passing or yellow penalties, actually. Oh, the 2. Nick Nickerson just stayed out on the track on the old rubber. Everybody else who was on the lead lap at least is down, and a lot of people did have a set at least in the bank. Hop was amongst them, so this is the last set for just about everybody.
The critical factor for Nickerson, he does have the fuel to go the distance. He's only about halfway through the fuel stint, so he can make it on fuel. The only question is, can he hold on with those older tires? Right on board with Wyatt Walker here, as he just skates through the outside of this wreck.
See him not clutching coasting at this point. You see right there, what handsmanship. Still got contact with the wall, though.
Yeah. Still caught. Could have been worse, though. Could have been far worse.
Now, I don't know how well this is going to work for the 2 machine. Massive tire difference compared to the rest of the field, or at least a lot of people. At least some 2-tire calls also came in. So this is the risk you have to play when you burn so many tire sets here, though. This is the bet that's been made. Can he survive to the checkered?
White flag will be coming out before too long, no doubt. Daniel Rupek with a black flag for coming down a closed pit road, missed his opportunity. Tough break for a car that, again, was running in podium positions for much of the day. Jaden Hop to the outside of Nickerson, and let's be honest, if Hop gets around that 2 car, he's got this race locked up.
Yep, especially since he's at the raw speed all night long with the setup. Been very hard to stop Hop when he's been able to find some grooves in the short run. 2's going to have to be massively defensive here without wrecking himself if he wants to win.
Down to just 19 cars on the racetrack from the 40 that started this race, and with 3 overtime attempts, we could lose even more before this race is out. Do we make it through this with only 1 attempt?
Yeah, that's the question here. I don't know how this is going to play out. It's up to the field. If we do get this run to play out, most of the field good on gas now.
Green flag coming out this time by in the Echo Park restart zone. One final time, potentially. Green flag is out, and we're racing once again. A bad spin from behind. Carter Phillips spins into the infield and towards pit road. No caution flag, though, and double file stacking them all the way up through the field.
Still battling it out, though. A lot of people wibble-wobbling. Gonna have to be careful with some of these aggressive moves 3 wide.
Some of these drivers still looking for 3 wide. Meanwhile, up front, Jaden Hop trying to go around the outside of Nickerson. This time by to the front straightaway. White flying in the air, crashing on the front straightaway, but they made it back. Jaden Hop trying to go around the top side of that number 2 car down to the turn. Numbers 3 and 4. Hop around the top side of 1. He clears him out of 2. Dalton Kilmer trying to run him down as well. Does Kilmer have an answer for Jaden Hop in turn 3 this time? Turn 3. Working through 4. Jaden Hopp out of the final corner. He'll look to be the first repeat winner. Crashed again in 4, and Jaden Hopp back-to-back at Charlotte.
And look at this, some hard crashes at the very end as well. The 4 drove without tires. Ty Marasco hasn't even gotten to the line yet. Pure calamity behind, but what a finish and what a drive from pit road to the end of the race for Hopp.
Coruscant will spin across the line to finish 11th. It was complete pandemonium there coming down to the checkered flag, and we'll get a look at all of what happened there in a moment. But for now, Jaden Hopp, the first repeat winner of the season. A big day for that 0-0.
Great effort from Jaden Hopp. Had a feeling with the pace he showed in practice again all season long so far, he'd be potentially one of those to beat. Great effort, great drive, good performance.
And a critical race as well, because this has now put Jaden Hopp just one win away from tying the all-time win record with Season 1 champion Benjamin Lacey. So Hopp one step closer to an ultimate milestone and taking down a record that has stood from day one of the High Tide Racing League. And he is going to take a well-earned trip down through the Roval. Let's take a rundown of that final lap, because, geez, there was a lot that went down there.
What happened here, I'm curious, too. There was so much carnage.
So much carnage.
I mean, the start of this looks calm, but obviously, it very much wasn't at the very end.
Yes, sir. It all fell. It was right here. This is where it started with Coruscant in the midst of this 3-wide slugfest here. This is coming down out of turn numbers 3 and 4. This is approach to the white flag, and Foster hit the wall. That's what happened there, and a big hit and upside down just about for Coruscant off of a wild tumble. That's what caused Bell to slam into the wall. He did go upside down in turn 1. Again, just about. And then that begs the question, what the heck happened then coming around through the rest of the track? Dees took out his teammate.
Yeah, and then everyone else just floors on through trying to finish the race. Some of the drivers just running with one tire. Dees still couldn't get going. Sent backwards. Marasco was trying to turn it around at the pit entry. I believe he finished down pit road.
Jeez. Take one more look at this one, and we'll catch some of the error that happened for some of these cars here. Again, this started coming out of 4. Some extremely violent hits here to close this race out. Golly, that's a ride right there that Coruscant took, and he was not the only one, because then further up the road, Larry Bell fighting with the 28 who had lost all contact, just got jammed into the wall, and he's the one that then got flipped up and over. And then Ty Marasco being cleaned out by his own MFRD teammate here into turn 3.
I'm not sure what was the case, but there, Dees was a little bit quicker in the apex, maybe. Long time. Oh my goodness, that's a flip.
And a head-on impact at about 180 miles an hour had to have been for Kyle Wellman. That's the type of thing that could be a career ender. Boy, oh boy. And one more look at this one. Getting told to get a look with Larry Bell as he went underneath Coruscant before, of course, he went into the outside wall himself.
Right there, the stack up's happening, coming out of the corner. As Oh boy, he definitely flew.
Yeah.
May have got scraped on the hood.
And unfortunately, the right front hung up on the car that was just to his right and finished the job. He almost got through that clean. That is such a shame. But the race ended about as wildly as it was run all night long. And, well, this will take us to the conclusion of an absolutely insane one here today. And Jaden Hopp becoming the first repeat winner here of Season 5. Dalton Kilroe finishes second. James Yerker back in third. Nick Christen in fourth. And then it's Williams, Haggy, Ramos, Shire, Ping, and Phillips for the top 10.
On the spot tonight goes the way of Corcel, Foster, and Marasco, the last on lead lap. Brian Dees doesn't even get the chance to finish on the lead lap. Hart Jr., Bell, Wellman, Rupek, Walker, Thorpe Jr. amongst the many that pick up multiple laps down from the carnage.
Moving on back then on to 21st on down, Lacey, Hobbs, Philbrick, Mixon all failing to finish this race with Satmary, Lakey, Osborne, Walker, and Jason Raymond also watching from the sidelines.
Keith Lee also watched from the sidelines with Massengill, Canfield, multiple incidents tonight, 33rd, McGill the same way in 34th, Tennemar in 35th, Wareham, Robinson, Gibson, Marshall, and Aaron Smith didn't even take the green flag tonight after being one of the faster drivers in final practice. He ends up being 40th.
Oh boy. 40 cars started this race, and at the end, only 14 crossed the start-finish line. An absolutely wild number to think about, and that'll take us straight around to the podium interviews here today, and we'll try to get a chit-chat in here with all the drivers that finished this race 1, 2, and 3, and we'll start things off here with Jaden Hopp, the driver that finishes number 1 on the afternoon. Jaden, an absolutely brutal matchup today, but you are the first repeat winner of the season, and I gotta ask, what the heck happened in qualifying?
Qualifying. Oh boy. I was on track for the pole. I think I set like a 25 something, but then I got an off track on where the road course chicane is, and then that just screwed it all up.
Well, you're still able to pick up a solid race win here this afternoon, and this race was a slugfest. I mean, you had to dodge all sorts of carnage coming up through the field, and you were able to kind of take a walk-off here at the end of the day. Talk about it from your perspective, because this race had more attrition than a lot of drivers here are used to.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. This was a pretty tough one, passing especially. Like, dirty air is terrible. If I just followed somebody into the corner, I'd just plow straight up the racetrack. So I was doing everything I could to avoid them. I was able to kind of make the very top line work, especially when they were like 2 wide ahead of me. Otherwise, it was really hard to pass. And pretty much just surviving the wrecks, and got a lucky caution when I needed it most.
Well, race number 3 is just around the corner. A 1-week break for Thanksgiving coming up here. Jaden, Bristol, do you think it'll be 3 for 3 for you?
Ooh, hard to call. I think it could be, but also the last time I raced Bristol in this league, I got wrecked from the lead, so we'll see.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck as we get set to go racing again in Tennessee. Congratulations on taking home a solid race here, and we'll see you when we go racing next week.
Hope to see you there again. Thank you very much.
Jaden Hopp brings home his second win of the season here this afternoon, and it is defending Blaze Battles Arca Series champion and looked to be the race winner today, but wasn't quite able to get the job done. Dalton Kilroe standing by with Justin Prince.
Yes, indeed, Dalton. It's been a night since some glory last time out, but you started off the night swinging with speed. What happened, though, once you got in traffic? It seemed like you had some hard times once in the dirty air.
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't even really the dirty air. It was just trying to figure out when to take tires versus not take tires. I mean, I know we had an abundance of them, but I just didn't want to. I didn't want to burn all my sets too early and then get a late yellow and get absolutely just drove around. So I was saving tires, and then, you know, some of the time when you're back in that pack, some of those guys are just like rabid dogs and they just take whatever they can. And you know, That last caution coming out saved me because I don't know if it got caught on the broadcast. I hope it did because it was a save and a half. When I got clipped by the 28 into turn 1 and was 90 degrees sideways just about. That absolutely killed my tires, so I was just dropping like a rock. So luckily the caution did come out and was able to get 2 tires and get somewhat back towards the front, because it's just once I put myself in that hole, I was just it was just gonna be too hard to get out of without doing something stupid and risking my own race.
So on that note, though, I will say this with the craziness. As a dog says hello, I will ask this in terms of that in the late stages once we got into the position of things. You mentioned some of it, but I want to get more emphasis towards it in terms of that end of the race. Kind of how concerning was that fuel mileage? Like, we thought it would maybe 50 laps, but it looked more like 40 in the tank.
Yeah, so for me, when I was just doing my normal running, I could get about 42. I think some others were getting closer to 40. I don't know how I run just a little bit longer normally, but it was 40 to 42 laps is what you could get. But with the last caution coming out with 40, or second to last caution coming out with like 46 to go, it was tight. But I knew we could do it. It was just going to be discipline from the start.
So with that being said, get a couple weeks away. Bristol, how do you feel about going to a wild track next?
Well, if these last couple races have been anything, I'm kind of nervous. But I love Bristol. I always run good there. So hopefully I can be ahead of all the madness, and if there is a bunch of stuff happening, hopefully it's quick into a run where I'm not catching lap traffic very quickly. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm going to try to do what I started doing tonight and try to just be out front as best I can and have all the craziness happen behind me.
Any shout you'd like to give here tonight?
I thank MFRD, Ohio and Indiana Roofing, all the rest of the league sponsors, and everybody else at HTRL for coming out. You guys for doing the broadcast for us, and everybody at home for tuning in.
Congratulations on the second place effort, Dalton.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Dalton Kilrow. Good effort, good run. Gets second place. James Yerger is able to come away with a top 3. Interesting enough, Nolan, he's with you.
James Yerger, of course, walking away with your first ever podium here in the High Tide Racing League. Gotta feel good to be able to stand among some of the big dogs here for the first time of your HTRL career.
Yeah, it feels amazing. I didn't expect to be here early on in this race or even towards the end, but just things fell my way and was able to get around the 2 right at the end to get that 3rd place.
You know, start to finish, it was looking like this race was always going to be one where you're going to excel at. You, of course, qualified up in the top 10. No easy feat when qualifying here in Charlotte can be so fierce. And you were up near the front for much of today as well. The strategy game was, of course, key as well. What contributed you to pitting there on that final yellow flag as opposed to trying to stick it out like Nick Nickerson did?
Actually, the caution early on when I got wrecked, I ended up not taking tires the next few cautions while I was repairing my car. I was like, there's no real sense to take tires with a car that's just going to destroy them anyway. So I actually saved the set for late and figured might as well use them at that point. Once I got my car fixed about a little past halfway, I figured it was on from there.
Well, before too long, it's going to be back to action. Of course, you come out into this league with a bit of Gen 4 experience of SRA. One track that SRA did not visit, though, was Bristol Motor Speedway, and that is, of course, where we go racing 2 weeks from today. Are we planning on seeing you back there and back up towards the front again?
I'll be there. I don't know how good I'll be, but I'm going to definitely try to be up front, and I'm not even sure if I have any laps in the Gen 4 at Bristol, but I typically like Bristol.
All right, well, we'll wish you the best of luck when we go racing once again 2 weeks from today. Congratulations on taking home your first podium, and who knows, it'll be the first of many.
All right, thank you guys, and certainly hope I'm talking to you guys a lot more here in the future.
James Yerker finishes his race 3rd place this afternoon, a 5-place increase after starting back in 8th. And Justin, that is going to do it then for us here this afternoon. A wild race indeed, and we look to the championship standings and how things shake up after today. And to say there's been some changes would be a bit of an understatement. Jaden Hopp, of course, jumping to the top of the points boards, no surprise there, but some other drivers we did not expect to see up in the top 10 here today, still very much in the fight, like Ryan Philbrook.
Yeah, still able to hold on because of his good starts to the season so far. Ramos with his recovery doing well. Thorpe, despite running out of gas, still in the top 5 is interesting to me. But overall, it's been a wild start to the season when it comes to the point standings. And we see just even with some of the big hits tonight for some of the drivers, like Shire in particular, still able to be within 7 despite a crash before the start and finish line is something.
And, of course, the Bristol Motor Speedway is just around the corner as well as we get set to go racing at the first short track race of the season at at the last Great Coliseum worldwide, you could argue as well. Bristol, always action-packed, and I have a feeling like the attrition field style of the race that we saw tonight is going to continue into Tennessee.
Yeah, Bristol's going to be a wild race, to say the very least. Wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of caution flags fly at the short track. Tempers are going to flare. Chaos is going to reign.
And all of this says we are set to gear it up for more racing action before too long. But before we get to more, there is still more action still yet to come here on Green Flag TV. And when we return, it is going to be at the Mid-Atlantic Racing Series, headed out to Avondale, Arizona, to Phoenix. And then even further west, you'll find the PSR finale at Auto Club Speedway alongside Beer League action. Nothing yet on Thursday, but Zero Tour Racing League returns to the Brickyard as they will be out at Indianapolis on Friday night as a prelude to the CIS Indy 500. From there, the FTR Events Trophy.ai Endurance Series will take the Sebring International Raceway for a 4-hour enduro on Saturday. The Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Series takes the Phoenix for their season finale on Saturday as well, followed by the SRA Gen 4 Series at Echo Park Speedway. That will be on Saturday night. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. My name is Little Wemple, alongside Justin Prince. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you all when we go racing in 2 weeks at Bristol.